First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate you on making it to this side of YouTube. A lot of people get sucked into the hype of investments like Tesla, Apple, etc., etc., when they have weeds, aka debt, in their backyard that they need to get rid of. Investments usually take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to yield any substantial income for yourself. And especially if you don't have a lot of money that you can invest at once, the difference that you'll see after a period of time is very negligible. So the main thing you can do right now is using your job or any business venture that you have currently going on to get yourself out of debt. So today's topic, debt consolidation and debt settlement via Suze Orman.
People out there who are finding yourselves not able to pay your credit card debt. Yes, we've dealt with mortgage debt, but now let's start to deal with credit card debt. You're 60, 90, 180 days behind on your credit card payments. Your FICO credit score is going down, down, down. It's already in the 500s. You don't know what to do. They've charged off some of your debts and you're thinking, oh, look what I got in the mail. Here's a company that says if I go to them, they can get me out of this credit card debt. They can settle this debt for me. Well, now I want you to listen to me because I do not want you to do that. You can do something on your own that will cost you a lot less. Listen up. When you go to a debt settlement company, what they do is they have you not pay your credit cards for a long period of time. Now, that's not a big deal because you're already not paying your credit cards. But you take whatever money you can, you give it to them, so they save it for you. You usually have to pay them $700, $1,000 up front. They then finally make a settlement with the credit card company, usually for 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. Whatever they settle for, you then have to also pay them a percentage.
They've updated the regulations, so now the debt settlement company will only get paid after they have negotiated the settlement for you. But obviously you can do this yourself, right? Essentially what happens, right, if you are finding yourself, you notice that the payments that you're making to your credit card debt is very negligible. It's not making a substantial dent into the overall debt, or you having some issues even making the minimum payments. What you can do, what you should do, I recommend, is obviously you start making payments, right? It makes no sense to worry about your credit score if your financial situation is in ruins. So to properly do this process, it's going to involve you not caring about your credit score. And regardless, your credit score can come back up after 1 to 2 years. So you're good. So essentially, you start saving money at a separate bank, right? The money you're using, the minimum payment that you're paying towards the credit card debt or any other additional income you have. Let's say the minimum payment is $500 and you have $800 to throw at the debt. Stop paying the debt and instead save it in a savings account at a separate bank. We do this because all banks have the right of offset. Essentially, it means that they can take a portion of the money in your bank, in your checking account or savings account, to pay any loans or debt that you owe them. And you don't want, and there's nothing worse than having, let's say, $5,000 in your checking account, and then you wake up one morning and you only have $1,000 left. Now you can't pay certain necessary daily expenses, and it just F's up your whole mindset. So essentially, the bank that you have the credit card with, you need to empty out the money in that bank. Next, now you will start to build up a lump sum amount that you can give to the bank in a settlement offer. Essentially, if you owe them $10,000, by the 6th month mark, let's say by the 5th month mark, you might end up owing them, let's say, $11,000 plus late fees, in addition to the late fees and interest that you will occur over those 5 months or so, right? So you want to essentially build up a settlement offer like that you've been saving over the course of 5 months to give to the bank. So essentially you'll offer them anywhere from $4,000 to even $6,000 or so of the total amount that you owe. This will negatively affect your credit score, but it will finally allow you to have some breathing room and not have this weight of debt hanging over your head. See, all of that right there can all be done on your own without going to a settlement company or a debt relief company. Essentially, the 6-month mark is important because after 6 months or about 180 days of payment delinquency, the bank usually does a charge-off, which the charge-offs or write-offs, essentially they're intertwined, ends up on your credit report. So that part right there can also further ding your credit score. So what I would recommend is that if you are currently late on your payments and you haven't been saving any money for the past 2, 3, even 4 months, I would recommend you do make one payment of that minimum monthly payment, let's say $500. This will reset the statute of limitations, essentially the charge-off time period before the charge-off shows on your credit report. So let's say you are currently 4 months delayed on your payment, right? Make that one minimum monthly payment, make it once, and that will reset the 100-day time limit. And as a result, now you have the full 4 or 5 months or so to save money and offer it to the credit card company, your creditor, as a debt settlement offer. But throughout this process, up until the 5th month mark, the credit card company will definitely be calling you, asking you what's going on, why aren't you making any payments. Just tell them you had to reduce hours, reduce income. Person in my family that I rely on now needs assistance. There's gonna be some health issues in my family, and by the 3rd, 4th month mark, you can even dangle the idea of bankruptcy, wherein they get no money, essentially, right? So that's how you kind of like, it's a brief idea of what to expect as you try and do a debt settlement offer to get yourself out of financial hardship. This will affect your credit score negatively, but you can always rebuild your credit score. But this is how they keep you in that debt cycle, because the whole coveted credit score, right? But yeah, that's essentially how they keep you in that loop, because they want you to be concerned, heavily concerned about your credit score, that you continuously give them payments that part of it go towards interest. You know what I'm saying?
So they make their money that way. You've settled your debt with the credit card company and you're off and running. Here's the thing, everybody. When you don't have money, $700 or $800 up front is a lot of money. It's more money than you have, number one. Number two, the credit card companies are willing to settle with you directly. So if you find that you are in a situation...
Facts upon facts. You just have to work on your negotiation skills and your ability to like delay them by talking to them. Be proactive, essentially. Be proactive. Call them, let them know, hey, I know I missed a payment. I have these certain issues going on financially. I'll get back to you and make a payment as soon as possible, right? Whenever I can. When you know in your head that, you know, you're looking at the 150 days of delinquency before you really implement the idea of a debt settlement, right? Creditors don't settle with people who are current on their credit card bill. And I feel no ways about this methodology, because creditors give credit to people that don't need it all the time. So they should be more careful with that shit.
Where you are already behind, it's already been charged off, or it's gone to a collection agency, or it's about to. If you do have some money, let's say you owe $17,000, $24,000 to some credit card company that's now in collection. If you have $6,000, $7,000, don't be surprised that if you called the collection agency directly, that they won't settle with you. Of course they will. They rather get something rather than nothing. So it is very, very important to understand you have what it takes to do this on your own. Now, if you do it on your own, I want you to follow these steps. If you make a settlement, you are not to pay that settlement with a check from your personal bank account. Do you understand? You are to pay it with either a cashier's check or a money order. I do not want these companies to know your bank that you happen to be banking with. On the check, you are to write, if this check is cashed, that makes this account, put your account number, settled in full. Number two, when you do that, you are to also ask them, if you are to settle this debt, you want it to appear on your credit report that this debt is paid in full. You do not want the words settled. You want paid in full.
You want that because essentially the settled has a negative connotation that, oh, you owed more than was initially shown, right? You say you owe 10,000 and you settle for 3K, right? That settled mark, that settled like statement doesn't bode well for future people who want to loan you or credit you money.
Because if the credit report says settled, future creditors will know that this is an account that you obviously settled on and that therefore you are a high risk. So you don't want that to happen. Next, if you are settling a debt yourself with a collection agency that purchased that debt from your original creditor, you also want to know that the original creditor can never come back at you for the difference of what you settled and what you originally owed. So you need to get all of that in writing. And last but not least, you need to understand that it is possible that you will owe income taxes on the amount of money you settled for and the original amount of money that you owed. So let's say you owed $20,000, you settled for $7,000. It's possible that you could owe taxes on that $13,000 difference. Therefore, you should always ask the collection agency to please state that you will not owe taxes on this money. And if they won't state that, also understand that if you are insolvent, which means you owe more than what you have, technically the IRS is not going to make you pay taxes on it. So check it all out so you don't spend money that you don't have. If you do all that, you don't need one of these debt settlement companies, and it will save you a lot.
Again, much of what I learned and much of what I understand from this whole like industry or this whole like sphere of YouTube or this aspect of the financial industry is my own personal experience with debt collectors, collection agencies, and from the book Negotiate and Sell Your Debts by Mandy. I think her name is Mandy Ackridge. You want to check that out. If you want more of like how to like put everything together. That book is a must read if you want like the step-by-step walk guide on how to do it.
Of money. You have a question for me about consolidating that credit card debt of yours. You have credit cards, huh? Debt? You do, don't you, huh?
Yes, I do.
All right, girlfriend, tell me all about it.
Well, Susie, I have roughly $33,000 in credit card debt, and I'd like to pay it off as soon as possible. So I wanted to research a company that told me that if I go with them, I can pay my credit card in 30 months, and they could save me like 70%. So I'm wondering, it sounds too good to be true. I'm wondering if it is.
There's different types of debt consolidation and debt, pay management programs. You're talking about a company where, in essence, they ask you to stop paying your credit cards in totality, correct? And then what you will do is you will take, if you owe $33,000 in credit card debt, you're paying approximately $700 or $800 a month, are you not, as your minimum payment on that debt?
Yes.
They will then ask you to take, let's say, that $800 a month that you are paying in, and they will ask you to take it and pay it to them. They will hold it in an account for you. And
you don't need to do that shit. Again, I repeat, you don't need to pay them. This is all stuff you can do on your own. Take that 800 plus, let's say, a couple extra 100 that you were putting towards your initial debt. You put it in a separate savings account at a separate bank from the creditor that you owe, so that the bank that you have the credit card with can't tap into your savings, right? Do it yourself and then ultimately give a lump sum settlement offer. Essentially, it's pretty straightforward. You don't need a debt settlement company. You can do it on your own. So you can do it on your dolos, on your ones.
you said 30 months. So over 30 months where you pay them $800 a month, that's in essence $24,000 that they've accumulated for you or something like that, depending what you're actually paying them. Then what they do is this. They contact your credit card companies. You're not paying your credit card companies. And then they make them an offer and they say they have the money to pay them X amount and it's over. Here's the problem. Companies like that usually charge about a 15% fee for them to do that work for you. That's number one. So 14 or 15% on $30,000, it's going to cost you $4,500 just to use their services. Number two, they will be asking you to stop paying your credit cards. Therefore, over the next 30 months, your FICO score is going to go down, 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 down. The reason they want your FICO score to go down, 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 down is when they eventually call your creditors and your creditors look up your FICO score, they know you haven't been paying them, they are going to be desperate and they will think to themselves, it's better to have 50 cents on a dollar than nothing because this is a woman that's about to claim bankruptcy. Does it prevent the creditors from coming back and ever suing you? No, it does not. Can they garnish your wages? You betcha they can. If they win that suit and there's a judgment against you, just because you're using a debt company like this doesn't prevent that at all. Any debt that is discharged above $600 has to be reported as income to you. So if you owe $30,000 and you pay them $10,000, that $20,000 difference, guess what? That goes on your taxable income. So you will have to pay income taxes on that. Now, so let's put this all together for you. You've paid them $4,500 to do their services. You've paid them, whatever other monthly fees, and most of them have monthly fees besides that to be doing the work. Then you owe taxes on this money, and you've ruined your FICO score, which means you're going to be paying more in car insurance and everything else. So the thing is this, there are no quick fixes, my dear Sharon, with anything in life. It took you a few years to get into this situation. It will take you a few years to get out of it. What I would suggest to you, don't go to a bad credit collection company such as the one you were thinking of, because I think they are bad. I think it's horrible to ruin your credit and everything like that. I want you to go to a debt management program via CCCS, Consumer Credit Counseling Service, where they will work with you. They will set you up on a plan. They will negotiate with the credit card companies to lower your interest rate. You will pay them. They will pay your credit cards for you. It will not hurt your FICO score. They'll educate you, and all of this stuff will put you on the path to where you want to be.
I'll definitely have to go into a more in-depth, detailed video on the whole idea of wage garnishments, being sued, and how that affects you and how you can go about that. But essentially, it's scary to think about not making a payment, but you are looking at the 6-month mark, right? 5-month mark, and even still, right? Let's say you weren't making payments for 3 months or 4 months, and you were saving money, right? You could even make a minimum payment. Again, be current for a while, save up some more money, and then ultimately settle it to the bank as a settlement offer before they charge it off, right? So for example, let's say right, you are currently 3 months behind, right? You haven't made consistent payments on your credit card for about 3 months, right? Let's say you do make one minimum monthly payment. You make it once, right? Now the 100-day period before the bank charges it off is now reset. Now, you don't make any more monthly payments. Instead, you keep saving that money. You now save more money to ultimately give it as a settlement offer. And let's say by the 5th month mark or the 4th month mark, you notice, I haven't saved enough to give a settlement offer that is 40 to perhaps even 60% of the initial credit that I owed, right? Let's say the credit is $10,000 and you've only saved up maybe $2,000, right? You can make one more minimum monthly payment, make it one more time, reset the full 180-day period before the bank charges it off, and then save some more money to ultimately give it as a settlement offer to the bank. That's essentially a way you could do it. This is going to affect your credit score, but you've probably been on YouTube for a while. There are many videos on YouTube on how to increase your credit score in 30 days or a couple days or a couple months, right? And the one I know for sure that is guaranteed is essentially having a secured credit, which essentially is like a training wheel for credit cards. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that gave you some things to think about, some ideas to possibly implement. And again, a must-read book is Negotiate and Sell Your Debts by Mandy Ackridge. Right here. Look at that book, order it. I'm leaving it in the description. Link to that in the description, pinned comment. But yo, God bless, much love, peace, and joy. Namaste. Always remember, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. And too much of any good thing is good for nothing. How are you doing today? I'm doing more, saying less, and keeping that same energy. No cap. Flip the script. I'm out.
I don't wanna do this on my own. It gets way too lonely on